The original, with the hostage situation in the subway, was a hip location. Robert Shaw played the bad guy, and he's a stereotypical bad guy with a hat and a mustache. And Walter Matthau was a laconic New York cop, and it was a sort of, it became a sort of cult movie, but it was, my movie really became about, it was character driven, and what I did in the end, I always do tremendous amounts of research, and we found a real guy just done 12 years in jail, just got out, and his story was John Travolta's story. That was the real story, so we took his life and his story, which is about revenge and humiliation on the city that had taken away his life. So the city was the bad guy, and he was determined to actually humiliate the city by holding it hostage in the bowels of the city. And then he was in Wall Street. He's going to do a money move and make a huge amount of money, which he did. And so that was all based off a real guy. All that was not fictitious. That was all this one guy. And Denzel was the guy who just happened to pick up the phone at the wrong time, the guy next door.
Control center, call him Pelham 123. Why'd you stop 123? You're all green ahead.
Rail Control Center, do you read me?
Who is this?
This is a man who's going to give the city a run for the money. Now, what is the price for New York City hostages this morning? What do you think, $1 million a piece is too high?
Well, I'm not a hostage negotiator.
Oh, I think you'll do just fine.
Denzel said, I think John, because Denzel's got great instincts. He said, I think John would be great. It's because it's a marriage. When you're casting like this, it's a two-hander, and he can't just say, well, I'll cast John, I'll cast Denzel. He goes say, how do these two? And he said, I think John. I never worked with John, and then and I was researching, and I found this guy called Walter Culkin, and when I found this guy, it informed me about, you're right, Denzel's right. There's a lot of John's personality inside this guy, so I gave him, he became the role model. So in the end, but I think they're a great balance, and John is a great bad guy because he's got such a big heart, and you contrast that with his insanity and his danger. So it's inherent in his personality, the big heart and the danger, and there's very few actors have that. We kept them apart for 80% of the shoot. One was 1 mile away in his dressing room, the other was on stage, and we'd hear him doing pirouettes and stuff, doing dance routines. Yeah, and he'd do Saturday Night Fever over the phone, and when we were off camera, it was great, funny.
Okay. Life is simple now. You just have to do what I say. Call the mayor now.
Somebody just hijacked Pelham 123.
You don't think this was fate, you and me?
I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy on the other end of the mic.
I do like you, man.
James is unique because he's got a big heart, but on the flip side, he's really dangerous. And he's got a sense of humor, and that's the same with John, and Denzel. I've done 4 movies with Denzel now. And each time we tap into a different aspect of his personality. Each movie is very different. This was The Guy Next Door. Man on Fire was the betrayal, the paranoia aspect. And Denzel, we always reach inside and said, and then I found the real guys and said, this is our role model. And we reach inside and say, this is the aspect of the personality we want to hone. And Denzel's great because he gives nothing and communicates everything. He does so much homework. By the time he comes to the set, he's comfortable. And that's very few actors do that. Gene Hackman, Gene and Denzel have a similar work ethic, in terms of they do their homework and they can do nothing here and give everything.
They want me to take the money down to the tunnel.
You do what you have to do, but we need milk. So on your way home, I want you to bring a gallon.
I can get a half a gallon. I'll get a half a gallon.
You're just like me, Garber.
You got 5 seconds.
Okay.
5.